So if we check the cargo storage of our first outpost in the information panel, you can see that we have a couple of stations, but also a lot of random wares. It gets clearer in the logistical section under stock. So here you also see the values of all our goods. It's not quite correct because the factories also have a theoretical value even if you cannot sell them. But for example, waste. We have piled up a lot of waste over the course of the gameplay. So over 400k. That's raw money that is lying in this outpost, basically. And also all the mining produce, everything that has been put into the station, these orange minerals, red crystals, that is stuff that our miners have brought in. Or these red minerals here, very valuable. Just 4 miners, in a couple of hours, they have made 130k. But we have not realized these profits yet. Those wares will never leave your outpost either. So all those miners you might be setting up in all of your outposts, they are basically completely useless unless you start actually selling that stuff. And that's where quick trade comes in. If we switch over to the traders section, you have a list of wares here. Right now we only have meat in this outpost, and that's because in a previous video I just clicked on buy meat. Whatever wares are in this list are considered to be either in demand or in supply by this outpost. So you're either buying that or selling that here. Whatever is not in this list, so for example the red minerals from our miners, is not getting sold. It's just getting stockpiled. If you want to get it sold, you need to add this as a ware, and this would be this button. And in the base Mayhem game, this was so micromanagement heavy that nobody ever used it. And this is understandable, because you would have to click literally through all the wares and set up import, export thresholds, all kinds of settings. You also had templates, but these were pretty useless, honestly. And I tried to add useful templates with those quick trade options. And the way this works is, so I'm expanding the quick trade section again. The way this works is, you think about what should your outpost be doing, and then you apply those modules. The problem is they can also partially override each other. So for example, we applied buy meat before. This has added meat with an import threshold of 20k, so we are buying 20,000 units of meat. We already have 18,000, so we already got the first load. That's exactly what we wanted. If we now click on sell all, we override that. So for meat, the sell all template was smart enough to detect that we consume meat in this outpost. So it doesn't sell it, it keeps the meat. That's why it has set an export threshold of 500,000 for meat. So that would be meat worth 6 million credits. That's what we keep in this outpost. But what we have overridden right now is the import. So all I'm saying is just be careful that you don't overwrite your settings. And the easiest way to completely avoid that is to just apply these modules in order from top to bottom. This outpost is supposed to build my stations. So in addition to the sell all template, so that we can get rid of our miner produce like the red mineral, we also need the buy meat, that we want to buy the food to sustain our population. And then we want a station crafting reserve. You always have a small description. The reserves are basically, that means don't sell the parts that we need to build stations. That's basically what this is. And that's all we need here. For our other outpost, the one that is building our ships, we are using a similar setup, but we are using sell all, then the factory reserve, because that means do not sell the resources that we need to supply our factories. And that would be our solar power plants and crystal factories, because we have agents on this outpost and we don't want to sell that stuff that the agents are bringing to our factories. This covers all factories that are in the game. Then we want to buy fish, and we want to keep all parts which are used in ship production. That would be the shipyard reserve module. And that's basically it. Applying those modules in order gives you the correct settings. So it adds all those wares here, and it applies the correct import and export thresholds to get the buying or selling that you want. But you can still modify those settings. So if I collapse quick trade, we can actually edit those values. So for example, if we say we don't want to buy 20k of fish, but maybe 30k, we make sure that you are in the import edit mode. And now you can, with the trade bar down here, type 10k and hit the right arrow, and you are increasing that value. Same can be done with the export threshold. That basically means when your stock level, the right column, is higher, then you start selling stuff. And for the factory wares like sea rations, shelled meat or chemicals, you can see that the factory reserve module that we applied, so telling the outpost do not sell those factory wares because we need them to supply our factories, it has applied an export level of 600,000 credits. So when we have sea rations, when we have more than 50k, that would be more than 600,000 value. Then he would also start selling those, but he would also try to keep at least 50k, so that we always have a small reserve to work with and supply our factories, basically. If you want to reset all of this and get rid of what Quick Trade has added, you simply click on this button. Remove all wares. All that Quick Trade does is adding those wares here and setting import and export thresholds. So what we have now is a setup where we have 3 outposts here, and all of them are selling the random stuff that they are frequently getting. This one up here is constantly getting stuff from the looter that we have stationed here. It's going around and picking up stuff. Right now we have set it up so that this stuff actually gets sold. All sectors have miners. Their stuff also gets sold. And at the same time, we keep the stuff that we need. In here, this would be the station construction parts. And here, this would be the ship construction parts. Those are being kept. And also the factory resources, because this sector has the agents, which is supplying all the other sectors. This sector up here is just selling everything, other than the food that it is consuming. And how is that sold? We are still not using traders of our own. It's only sold when NPC traders are coming to us to buy that stuff. So there is also no guarantee that you actually get rid of it. But this should be enough to make some decent cash and basically solve every money issue that so many new players are often plagued by.